It's Friday, October 10th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network presented by FanDuel. What's going on, everyone? It's Friday. Let's have some fun today. We have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer behind the board, Jacob Grimenia. Things are looking good today with the New York Giants hat. Some Survivor carnage. You had 3 touchdowns last night. You're also wearing a Giants shirt. You're Giants out.
Yeah, I have my Giants jacket here as well.
Incredible.
Different one from yesterday's watch along, which was a great time. Always nice seeing the Giants beat the Eagles.
Yeah, it was honestly a great game, great watch. And I think the underrated story is that they play the Eagles in 2 weeks. So it's gonna be fun to see how that one shapes out. Hopefully they can win another game. Listen, I'm on the Giants to make the playoffs. I was on them early in the offseason.
Let's do it.
High on Jackson Dart. He looks incredible. Cam Scadaboo looks incredible. Familiar with him at USC when we played Arizona State. I'm pretty sure he ran for 2, caught 1, and threw a touchdown against us. I think it was 2 years ago when Caleb Williams.
Cam Scadaboo, man.
He's a dog. The one thing they haven't tapped into is the trick plays because he can throw the rock.
Oh yeah,
he can throw the ball.
He can also bash his head through Cooper DeJean. You know, in celebration of the win, I went to the gym this morning, did 3 sets of bashing my head into a brick wall in honor of Cam. Maybe one day I'll get into the NFL as well.
An absolute dog. We have a great show for you guys today. Kirk Evans is going to jump on in the first spot. We're going to be talking about some NBA win totals. We're going to take a look at some awards markets. Should be good there. NBA season is around the corner. I think we're 2-ish weeks away. And then after that, people asked for him. We finally got him on. Joy Knish joins the show. We're going to talk some college football. I want to talk to him about Bill Belichick. Wondering if any of the Knishi moles have some more information regarding this Bill Belichick story. It seems like he's going to get fired. If you fire him, the time to do it is right now. So a lot of interesting stuff there to talk about in college football. Also going to break down some games. Of course, my USC is playing his Michigan. A lot to talk about there. I think he's free-rolled for that game as a Michigan fan. It's way more important for USC than it is for Michigan. Then finally, to close out the show, we have Brandon Wile coming on. Going to talk some MLB playoffs, break down the next 2 games that are coming up, Cubs, Brewers, Tigers, Mariners. And we'll see how both those teams, or all 4 of those teams, would match up in the ALCS and the NLCS versus the Dodgers and Jays. So great show for us here today. Really excited to get going. For those of you who watch along last night, feeling a little bit better, still a little sick. Hopefully I can earn some thumbs up for powering through. Also, we are 6 subscribers away from hitting 4,000. Let's do that. Let's do that by the end of the show. It would really make my weekend knowing that we landed on 4,000 subscribers. And listen, if you've already subscribed, tell a friend. Reach out, be like, hey, do you guys like betting on sports? Do you guys like talking sports? All that kind of stuff. Please do us a favor and send it to a friend. Make sure they're subscribed. And yeah, goes a long way for us here on the channel. So, going to bring on Kirk in just 1 second. Before we do, just want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, BetStamp. With football season in full swing and the NBA tip-off just 2 weeks away, now is the time to lock in the BetStamp Pro props screen. It's built for high-level bettors who need to spot and scale up edges fast. As more books take real money on props, prices get sharper, which means the window to exploit inefficient numbers is right now. You can't do that without a hyper-efficient, reliable, true line that shows you the real market price in seconds across 150-plus books, helping you find and hit the best edges before the market moves. Don't wait. The window to capitalize on the prop market is right now. Visit betstamp.com/hammer or scan the QR code to apply for a demo. Spots are limited ahead of the season. That's betstamp.com/hammer. I like to think to myself that former employee of BetStamp, Luke Campanella, is probably so happy.
Lay it with Luke.
So happy to see that QR code on screen. The amount of times I've heard that guy say QR code is...
He was always right, to be fair. He always got a lot of shit for it, but he would always talk about QR codes. Rob would make fun of him. Johnny would make fun of him. But in the end, they are very helpful, and I use them a lot now.
They absolutely are. They are helpful. So shout out to Luke for that one. All right. Let's bring up our first guest here. He is a NBA bettor. WNBA bettor. Don't laugh. He's laughing in the back. Just bring him up. Kirk Evans, how's it going?
Doing good. You couldn't even remember what I like to bet?
I know.
It was literally the first thing you said about me.
No, I know. It's just
At least you got my name right.
Yeah. All right. Did I though? Because I got the fake name right, not the real name. But can I dox you or no? I'm kidding.
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm kidding. All right. A lot to get into today. Before we do though, I saw in our Circles, I think it was the Circles Off group chat, or maybe it was the Hammer Betting Network group chat. Well, you're talking about every year you play Pokemon Red. So before we start, Bulbasaur, Charizard, or Squirtle? Who do you pick?
Obviously Charizard is the preferred pack, but I'll do any of them. I'll do any of them if I'm doing a run.
Okay.
Like sometimes you got to change it up.
All right. I just had to ask. So you're a fire guy through and through.
Yeah, Charizard is just like the coolest, obvious.
All right, built different. Respects. I was always a Squirtle guy, but whatever. Teach their own.
You would be.
What the fuck does that mean?
Take it for what you will.
Okay, all right. All right, let's dive right into things. You want to talk some NBA win totals? And yeah, we'll start with here. A lot of these you've bet already, correct? I bet everything already. So okay. Anything I sent you, we're good to talk about. We're good to talk about. All right, so let's start with some of these numbers are pretty crazy to me. First one is the Jazz. You're looking at them over 18.5, which is like shockingly low when I think about it. Not the biggest.
Not shocking.
Not shocking. Fair, but just still that like it's an 82 game season. So to not win a quarter of your games seems a little crazy. But yeah, talk us through why you like this Jazz over at 18.5.
Yeah, obviously I don't think the Jazz are going to be competing for a playoff spot, but there's a clear 3-team quadrant at the bottom of the league with Washington, Brooklyn, and Utah. And I actually just have Utah as the best of those 3 teams. And they're lined at 18.5 wins, which is the lowest of those 3 and also the lowest win total I can find going back the last, I think, 10 years. They're just not that bad. They clearly have the 2 best players on those 3 teams with Laurie and Walker Kessler. They also have so many young players that aren't rookies. So they have Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey's going to be horrible this year. But then they have, 7 or 8 roster spots that are second or third year players. Not that I'm particularly high on any of those players, but you really just need one of them to take even a mini leap, and this team will be respectable enough to win 18.5 games. So I think the line should probably be around 21.5. I don't see why I do see why, because they won 17 games last year and they lost Jordan Clarkson, who was completely horrible last year, John Collins, who still remains pretty good, and Colin Sexton, who also wasn't bad last year. But I just think that's a bit of a reductive way to think of, they lost these players and they were bad last year, so they're going to be just as bad or even worse. A team winning 17 games is just so low that expecting that to happen again, even though they will be taking at the end of the year, I think is a bit unrealistic to set that at their median. And then lastly, Danny Ainge, or Austin Ainge, who's now their GM, seems to be talking like they want to be a bit more competitive than last year. Last year was a bit of an embarrassing year where they had to really sit guys to get these young guys minutes. So I expect them to be slightly more competitive early season.
All right, looking to be a little bit more competitive. Their price is the worst team in the NBA, and you don't think that is the case at all. So fair play to you. Currently minus 134 over on FanDuel if you're looking to bet the over. From one shitty team to the next, we talked Utah Jazz. Now let's talk Brooklyn Nets. You're high on the Jazz, well, relatively based on market, but you're lower on the market based on market on these Brooklyn Nets team. You're looking at the under 20.5, minus 120 at FanDuel. Tell us why you like that one.
For sure. So I think the case for Brooklyn is essentially the exact mirror case for Utah. They have 5 first-round picks this year. Like they had 5 first-round picks that are coming in, so they have 5 rookies. Ben Saroff and Igor Joman, I think that's how you say his name, project to be the point guard rotation. That's going to be the worst point guard rotation, probably the worst positional group in the entire NBA. Again, this is kind of the exact opposite of the Jazz. They won 26 games last year. I think 26. I could be wrong by one or two. So that's why I think they're lined at 20 and a half rather than they're lined higher this year than they were last year. But they were the second luckiest team in the league, and only one Pythagorean wins were, I think, 21.8. And they're just way, way worse than they were last year. They got minutes from Schroeder last year, D'Angelo Russell, Dorian Finney-Smith, Ben Simmons. Not that any of those guys are stars by any means, but they're a lot better than the minutes they're going to be getting this year. They also didn't have a pick last year. Typically, the most destructive players in the NBA are rookies because, it makes sense. You're coming into the league for the first time. You're not ready for the NBA. It takes time to develop. So they're going from 0 rookies to 5. Danny Wolf and I'm forgetting the Nolan Traore, and then I'm forgetting the last rookie's name. They maybe will only figure later in the season, but they're still going to get minutes. And then Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr., I think is also a pretty significant downgrade, especially considering how good Cam Johnson was last year. I also think the unserious levels of this team have now gone quite high. Like Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. do give me, Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma vibes. So they won 26 games, but they had the Pythag of a 21.8 win team, and they are significantly, significantly worse. And lastly, they don't have their pick last year. Next year. So they are absolutely desperate to get a high pick this year. They kind of screwed that up last year and only got the 8th pick because they came out of the gates and won some games early. So I absolutely project this team to be the worst team in the league. There's not really any prospect who I'm worried about who could, come out of the gates. Their best prospects are Noah Clowney and Day'Ron Sharp, who are, project to on the high end maybe be starters in the league. Median outcome be backups, possible that they're not even in the league. Day'Ron Sharp's a good backup center, actually. But they don't have guys who you're worried about who, that guy could be really good. So, yeah, there's just a lot of reasons that they're going to be very, very bad. I project them to be the worst team.
All right, let's take a look at the San Antonio Spurs. You like them. They're under in this one. Any particular reason? Are you worried about what makes you like the under 44.5 here at -120?
Yeah, I just think for the Spurs to be this good, you're projecting Wemby to just be like essentially, a Giannis level player. And I think that's pretty close to fair, but I would bet against him being quite that good this year. I think it's definitely in play. The rest of the roster is just really bad. De'Aaron Fox is already hurt. They do have some upside guys, but no one really is proven beyond Fox and Wemby. And they're in the West, which is just so good. Like, they're priced 1 win away from the Warriors. I don't really have those two teams really close to the same tier. If things go bad or Wemby gets hurt, they're going to go way under. I could even still see this team tanking this year if things go really bad. So, yeah, I just don't really have them in the class of the other teams. If they were in the East, I could believe it. They could just dominate teams late in the season who are tanking. But in this West, especially with Wemby's injury risk, I just could not get them to this number.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking there. You're worried about the injury risk for Wemby and the Spurs. Just not a great talented team overall outside of Wemby. Let's flip over and talk Denver Nuggets. 54.5. You're liking the under. Priced at FanDuel at -118. Give us your reasons.
For sure. So I like the Nuggets as a team. I'm kind of surprised that I'm so off market. But people are just really buying into them being dramatically improved. And I'm not so sure why. Like, I think Cam Johnson is an upgrade. I think Valanciunas is definitely the best backup center. But I also think Denver having a good backup center might cost them wins, which doesn't seem to make sense. But I think they know that if in the playoffs they want a rested Jokic, and they just have never been able to have that. So I think they might scale down Jokic's minutes. I know last season they wanted to do it, but then again, they just simply couldn't because they didn't have a player who could replace him, and they were so bad without him. So yeah, any injury to Jokic, who has been incredibly healthy, will absolutely tank this win total. But 54.5, it's just too high. I don't have them 5 wins above the T-Wolves. I don't have them, 8 wins above the Warriors. I barely have them better than the Clippers in the regular season. The Clippers do have more injury risk, but they're a lot deeper. I'm not buying into Bruce Brown, who's been horrible for 2 years, and Tim Hardaway Jr. as being like these incredible bench pieces. I think the bench will be maybe slightly better, but still bad. I think Cam Johnson's definitely an upgrade, but nothing huge. I think, they project to me to be like a 51, 52 win team, and 54.5 is just too high for me.
All right. 2 more win totals you have here. Next one is Dallas. You like the under 40.5. The old guard and the new guard, we'll call it, I guess, with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson joining Cooper Flag. Should be maybe a fun team to watch. I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, under 40.5. What makes you lean towards the under here at -102 at FanDuel?
For sure. So I just think in a West that's this good, it's going to be really tough for them to be competitive, especially early without Kyrie. Davis is a huge injury risk, and without Davis, they're kind of a deep team. They have a lot of bigs to replace him, but really no high-end players. Cooper Flag projects to be very, very good for a rookie, but he still is a rookie. And this team is deep, but it's only deep at 3 through 5. They have a lot of bigs on this roster, but the guard rotation is really scary. D'Angelo Russell is okay, but he's probably more of a backup point guard. Klay Thompson has been pretty dramatically falling off, and he's quite old now. He could see an even bigger fall off. Kid already was barely playing on late season. Their backup point guard is Dante Exum, Brandon Williams, who are fine, but definitely not. It's a pretty bad guard rotation. I think creation is going to be really tough for this team. Davis wants to play the 4, which I think he's naturally a 5. Cooper Flag to me is more of a 4, and they're going to play him at 3. They're talking about him ball handling. I just think in a West that's this good, it's going to be hard for this team to be 500 with how little they're going to get from Kyrie. He's going to maybe be back near the All-Star break, and it takes a lot of time for a guy to fully come back from an ACL. So I don't really think it's fair to expect Kyrie to be Kyrie this season. And without him, I just think the guard play isn't good enough to get to 40.5 wins.
All right, last one here. We have the Warriors over 46.5 over on FanDuel. It's -110. Talk us through why you like these, why you're higher on these Warriors.
Yeah, so I just think the Warriors are an awesome team. I can see why people are kind of, trepidatious with how old they are. But I would understand that argument if they were lined at 48.5, 49.5. But, at 45.5, 46.5, this team they were the best defense in the league after they got Jimmy Butler. I think they were 30-11 in games that Curry and Butler played. Butler, to me, is just probably the most underrated player in the NBA right now, which is funny because he's 35. So you think that he's been around for long enough that people know how good he is, but he just does things that people don't appreciate. He doesn't turn the ball over. He causes a shit ton of turnovers. He gets fouled a ton. He's just a super efficient player. So yeah, to me, this team will easily go over 46.5 wins unless there's a significant drop off from one of the players, which is certainly possible. So I have them, around 48.5, 49.5 wins, but 46.5, I just cannot get there with how good this team is. Steph also projects to he's already aging as one of the best aging players in NBA history. He keeps himself in amazing shape. Jimmy actually played pretty low minutes last year, so I expect him to be pretty fresh. Draymond seems to have gone into a lot better shape the last few years. Al Horford was just really good last year. I also think Al Horford's just been a really underappreciated signing. This team's never had a center who can shoot and defend like Horford. Horford's a pretty rare player in the league. I think he fits awesome with Draymond. And then I like the depth. The starting centers last year were Quentin Post, Trace Jackson Davis. Now they're their bench centers. They get D'Anthony Melton back. They have 4 shooting guards who all are pretty good. And Kuminga's kind of a wild card. He probably won't contribute much, but he's a trade piece that they could upgrade. I just think this team's really good.
All right, you're high on the Warriors. Let's flip over and talk some awards markets. You wanted to talk the most improved player. Tell me quickly a little bit before you head out here, the criteria you need to win this award, because I feel like it's a very tough award to conceptualize. Is it like you were bad, now you're good? Is it like you were good but just didn't really get the national coverage or appeal media coverage that people expect for someone who played as well as you? Like, what does it take to win this award, and then who do you like in the field?
Typically, I would say it's a pretty good player turning into an all-star. That's the most typical path for this award. Last year was Dyson Daniels, who was maybe like worse. He had a worse baseline and maybe a worse like high end than typical for this award. But typically, it's you were a fine player, and then you went to an all-star level player.
Okay, so then who do you like in this field?
So the player I've bet most here is Josh Giddey. I've taken him anywhere between like 20 and 30 to 1. So I think the reason he's priced so high, I kind of expect him to be the favorite in this award, is because he was actually quite good last year, but he was really only good in the last 20 games. After Levine left, Donovan clearly started trusting him more, and his minutes went way up. So his baselines aren't that high. He averaged, I think it was like 20 points for the last 20 games, but only 14 points per game on the season. So I think in a weak East, he could easily average like 19, 8, and 8. And that's like not that high above his median outcomes. And I think with that in an all-star game appearance, I'm pretty high on the Bulls. I didn't mention them, but I actually did also take their win total over. So, a funky Bulls team that, is in the play-in with Giddey as their clear best player as like a shitty all-star in the East, I think it could easily get it done. And I think that's far less than 20 to 1 to happen.
All right, 22 to 1 right now over on FanDuel. So yeah, you think you would need to be like you said, like average 19 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists to kind of make and then make the all-star have like that sort of appeal of being the best player on his team. That's like the criteria. That's like the path you see for him winning the award.
Yeah, I think that's the best path. I don't know exactly he'd need that stats, if he needs 19, 8, and 8, or 18, 7, and 7, or 21, like somewhere in that range where he can have an all-star stat line.
All right.
I think that could easily get him there.
Very interesting. Well, you got the Hammer Daily crew behind you. We're going to start spreading the propaganda on Twitter the second he has a good game. And that's the most important part for these awards, is getting the media attention, getting the word out there. So anyways, Kirk, appreciate you coming on. Any last words, any final words for the people? Are you going to be on Circle Back on Monday?
I will be on Circle Back on Monday.
No, nobody will be, because we are off for Canadian Thanksgiving. No Circle Back.
Oh, I won't be. Oh, we don't have a Monday. That's great.
We do not.
Just learned about that now.
That's a great communication through the network, but there you go.
Wanted to see if you were on the ball, Kirk. Appreciate you joining us. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
All right, see you, Kirk. Go follow Kirk on Twitter at KirkEvans0.
I mean, there better not be a Circle Back. I'm going to the game 2 of the ALCS.
Yeah.
So I was told there was no show.
No, there is no show. I was just kind of fucking with Kirk there, just see if you was going to remember it. But anyways, we got our next guest coming on, Joey Knish. I'm going to assume he's not there.
He's here.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, then
But he's in his car.
Oh, fuck. Well, let's get through this ad read quickly here. Shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. We want to fire up Saturdays, as FanDuel has a boost that you don't want to miss out on. It's called the Boostin' with the Boys, and it's given everyone a college football profit boost every single week. You can use your profit boost on any game you want. The one that I will be using my profit boost on is, of course, this USC-Michigan game. Going to look at some USC alts, maybe get some Makai Lemon overs. And we'll talk about, we'll figure it out from there. So here's how it works. Each week, FanDuel is giving everyone a profit boost to use on college football. No opt-in gymnastics, no invite-only nonsense. Everyone gets the boost. We're talking real games, real teams, real Saturdays with an extra payout on the line. It's easy, it's fun, and it's only on FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/hit the books. Download the app today. Check out the Boostin' with the Boys offer and get in on the action. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas and affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/Chattanooga, Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.ma.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right. You've seen him on Hit the Books. You've seen him on Circle Back, which, by the way, dropped this morning. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it after this show. Joey Knish. Excited to have him on. Knish, how's it going?
Great to be here on what we'll call the Knish Daily at somewhere. We're testing out some new members here of what would be like the greatest daily panel in the history of the network. Let's chop it up a little bit. The intro, the first time ever on Hammer Daily, and it's going to be a banger. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. You don't have wire headphones by any chance, do you? Getting a little bit of feedback here, but we can try and make it.
No, does it sound better?
Yeah, this is definitely better. Definitely better. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome
Beautiful
stuff. All right. Knish to have microphone problems like minus 1,000 caches every single time. Anyways, we're going to talk about some college football games. Before we talk about any games, though, the team I want to talk about off the top is actually on a bye this week. It's UNC. I feel like this is one of the biggest stories in college football. Maybe not. It's just like the amount of disaster that's surrounded this school has just been crazy. It seems like Bill Belichick's getting fired. Do you have any insight from the Knish moles? Any opinions on this? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think at this point, everyone has landed on this was a bad idea. This isn't going to work. And how can we get out of this without just a mass? I think even Belichick is he's out. So I think they're going to do small buyout, quiet exit. Who's going to coach the team now? And then where do we go? We just hired fucking his boy as GM. We hired all his goonies as the staff. Are we cleaning house again? So yeah, complete disaster. Kind of set. If I'm being honest, growing up, you were oh my God, this is some of the game plans that he would do with the Pats and all that. This is so legacy tarnishing that it's just kind of I don't know. It's just to see this guy who was literally the greatest football coach you ever lived through. Maybe, sans Jim Harbaugh, but the greatest football coach, people talk NFL in NFL history, to now be getting toyed around by a 26-year-old girl and getting absolutely smacked every week at a mid-tier ACC school. Tough scene. Just overall tough scene. Probably needs to go. And I don't this is it, right? There is no Belichick comeback, set the wins record in the NFL. This is it. He's never coaching again. Maybe high school football somewhere in fucking, New England or something. I don't know. But this is it. This is the last we'll see of Belichick coaching a job. And it's a tough way to see it go out.
Yeah, no, and also we kind of forget how bad I don't want to say how bad he was, but towards the end of his career in the NFL, he was only sticking around because you said, he wanted that wins, and we gave him a pass for it. It's all right, your team is bad, even though you kind of put them in that position. You weren't able to get that many wins, but you finally got it. You got the record, and that's it. But then he had to come in, tarnish his reputation. Somebody's cooked when they're posting Instagram pictures of them holding their girlfriend up by their feet and on the beach.
It's real.
That's how you move over the hill.
That makes the whole thing. It's not just if he just got a normal 30-year-old girlfriend who oh, I'm gonna do that'd be fine.
Yeah,
it's all the stuff around it, and you're dating a psychopath who's dictating your life and making you do this weird shit and being on the sideline and stuff. That to me compound. If he just took the job and it didn't go well, this is compounding the embarrassment and the legacy tarnishing. And it's it feels like you're seeing your grandfather get scammed by a sugar baby that's destroying his life. That's Bill Belichick. That's the last I'm going to remember him. This guy was the greatest fucking, come on, now he's getting toyed around by a 26-year-old. just tough to watch. I'll be honest with you. It's very tough to watch happen.
For someone to have that reputation of being like such a hard-nosed head coach and to be toyed around with by a 26-year-old girl is honestly, it's hilarious to think about. But yeah.
And it's like, as you said, he didn't come in and it's like, okay, I'm going to get all these young, new assistants, new guy. He did the same fucking thing that he's done it with the Pats, as you said. I'm bringing my boy Freddie Kitchen. I'm going to bring in my boy Mike Lombard. None of these guys have been I mean, it's been a decade plus. They've all been washed for years and years, and he did the same thing. It's like, Bill, just go hire somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing in 2025. Like, you're bringing in all your old cronies that ruined you at the Pats. Like, I'm going to make Matt Patricia my offensive coordinator. The guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, it's the same thing. And at this point, like, it's over. It's over. The Belichick era is over. The Belichick coaching is over. Yeah, tough. This is like, I can't even think of, there's been some sad endings. This is the saddest.
Yeah.
This is taking the cake of like the disgraced legacy at the end for an all-time great.
Yeah, sad to see. But anyways, let's move on. Let's talk some football this week, college football this week. Tons of great games. First one I want to talk about is head-to-head, me and you. We got a little rivalry going right now. Michigan at USC. USC right now -2.5 on the spread. Total is at 56.5. This is it's not really fair that we're going head-to-head on this game because like this game doesn't really mean that much to you. If I don't mean to be rude as a USC fan, but like in terms of being a Michigan fan, this is almost like a free roll. If you win, you have like a decent path to making the playoffs. You probably do make the playoffs, but if you lose, it's like you guys weren't really expected to. This is the year where you were willing to take the lumps, kind of develop Underwood, make sure he's like going to be that guy, and he looks to be that guy. So it's like a positive year regardless of the outcome of this team. Now, on the USC side of things, if we lose, this is the defining moment of the Lincoln Riley era, where it's like we need to make the college football playoffs. We need to look good against Michigan. We cannot lose this game. If we do miss the playoffs, it's an absolute disaster. Yeah, it's a tough week for me this week. I hope USC wins, but give me the breakdown of this game. What do you expect to see happen? How much are you looking forward to this?
No, I agree. You know what? Like, just as your point there, like I agree. Michigan, I think if they win this, I would say they're in. Like, you can lose to Ohio State, 10-2, Michigan's getting in, as long as you take care of your business the rest of the way. USC, it's a must-have. We got to have, because, yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. You got to beat one of the two. Next week, Notre Dame. This week, Michigan. This week's probably much more gettable at home, off the bye. A little bit of like, I think schematic advantage here for the offense. Yeah, Lincoln Riley tuned up Wink Martindale pretty good last year. And so I will say, though, the problem with USC, not only the players on the field, but the alumni, the fan base, is they're just too soft. Too soft in the trenches, too soft in life. And when you go up to them and you really line up and you put them in check and you hand that football off, it's like it's like that Adoree Jackson highlight I just tweeted where he's trying to tackle Cam Scadaboo and he throws a little shoulder into him, but he doesn't really want the smoke. He doesn't really want the pain. That's the difference between USC and Michigan, between Midwest and Southern Cal. It's a mentality difference that you can't always handicap, baby. And so when Michigan's going to line up and USC is going to put out their, 260-pound defensive tackle that probably should have done gymnastics and not play football, it's a little bit different story when you're going to line up. And it happened again, to be serious, it happened against Illinois where they could not stop the run. And that was it. They could not. It took a couple of Illinois fumbles into the end zone for that game, for even them to have a shot in that game. And now against a Michigan team, now granted, cross-country flight, Michigan's not off a bye, a little bit of if there's a spot, if this is the game that USC has to have, I know this is like you circle the wagons, you got to have it. And I do think Lincoln Riley offensively will have success. He was in his bag. Wink Martindale sometimes gets a little bit blitz happy. You can't blitz Jordan Mailata because he will fucking cut you up. Gun to my head, I'm taking the points, baby. But I needed 3. I played a little bit of 3 earlier in the week. It's one, if you didn't get in at 3, I'd probably, live trade this game. I know some people out there that like the over, think it could be a little bit of both ways. But I just think, gun to my head, that trenches difference on both sides, usually the all-time, the all equalizer. And I think Michigan's just much better on the interior.
Not to be that guy, but USC was dealing with a couple injuries heading into that Illinois game. Like some of their best players were hurt. They had I believe their left tackle was injured for that game. Couple cornerback injuries to kind of move Jalen Ramsey out of his, or not Jalen Ramsey, Kamar. I think it's Kamar. I forget his name. Ramsey something. Anyways, moved out of his spot. So a lot of all over the place there. I'm gonna be excited to watch. Hopefully we can beat you in the back and forth. But anyways, let's move on. Let's talk Florida. Let's talk Texas A&M. Texas A&M right now, 7.5 point favorites. Totals at 47.5. We saw Florida last week. Play a little bit of spoiler. Love to see that in college football. DJ Lagway kind of got his groove back. Looks to be like the quarterback that we expected him to be coming into this season. Obviously, much tougher opponent this week versus A&M. You're on the road as well. Tougher environment. Do you think Florida can play spoiler again against this A&M team, or just no chance? I think you're covering your mic, by the way, Knish.
So, I gotta tell you,
is your hand on the bottom of your phone?
You got me back. You got me better now.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Is this what? Yeah. That's why you're the best in business.
I was like, what the hell's going on? I knew it.
Yeah. we took some 7.5 Monday on Hit the Books. I do think you mentioned it. I just think in general, Florida off of the rest last week, they looked healthier at a number of positions. Lagway looked better. They got the freshman everything receiver back. A couple of guys on defense. I think they'll even be getting either first round pick on the defensive line. I think he'll be back this week. The defense, as we've seen all year, is real deal at Florida. It was how will this offense be able to do anything at any point? And it was going to be Lagway getting in a better rhythm, getting healthier. And I think you saw enough. It wasn't great. It was better last week. But Texas A&M, the scoreboard, again, Mississippi State last week looked a lot better than the gameplay. This one, I don't trust Texas A&M's offense for me in terms of like their ability to like pass the ball, pass explosiveness. I know they've upgraded at receiver. There's still a few things offensively with Marcel Reed that I'm not totally in love with. And it's an A&M defense that good, not great. For me, it was waiting for like we took the 7.5 Monday. You can get anything 7 or better. That's the play for me in this one.
All right, sounds good. Let's flip over and talk Kansas, Texas Tech. Less so about the game itself. Texas Tech laying 14 points at home here. We've seen Texas Tech beat down kind of every single opponent they've played, just absolutely running up the score. Shoe in for the Big 12 championship. Shoe in to make the college football playoffs. My question, though, is looking super far ahead here. Do you think they have enough firepower to hang with the big boys in the SEC and the Big 10?
You know what? I would say probably a level below. I know BP there was some 35-1 out there, Natty, that he was kind of touting on Monday. I don't know if I'm buying at that price because I think it's just a level below. However, we talked on the Monday show how there's probably 3 teams right now, Miami, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. You would say they're going to the playoff. Like they are going to go. And are they... they might be a touchdown below some of the real elites in the sport, but that's not like in years past they'd be 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns below an Alabama or a Georgia or a Clemson, So to me, if you're taking 30-1, 35-1 out there and then they win a natty, they're going to the playoff, and then you get a decent draw, you make an upset or two, you give yourself some options. I don't hate it. I don't think they're at that tier yet, but I do think they're significantly better than anybody in the Big 12. And even preseason, you would have said that they're, yes, we see them as a Big 12 contender. So far, what we've seen this year is they're like 2 scores better than anybody else in the conference, which did not expect coming in. And it's just, hey, the money's being thrown around down there in Lubbock, baby. And they brought some real deal players in. And now, especially on the defensive line, they're so far and away better in the trenches than anybody. It's shown on the field. And I think Marquette's had some trouble catching up with how good they are compared to the rest of the conference. And honestly, I played them again this week. I'm going to keep it rolling against the Kansas team that's, I think, is in for a rude awakening when they go to Lubbock this Saturday.
All right. Love it. Let's close it out here. Talk Oklahoma, Texas, a little bit of a Red River rivalry. Just give me your boldest prediction for this game. What you want to stick, like plant your flag, stick your neck out a little bit here. Give me your boldest prediction, what you think will happen in this game. Maybe someone gets benched, maybe an upset, something along those lines. Give it to me here.
Bold prediction, John Mateer starts but doesn't survive the game. Wow. Or he has to come out at some point where he's going to, he's got the thumb. I don't know if he's going to be able to throw it well enough. But if they get, I think he'll get to a point where he'll start the game, and then you take one hit on that hand or that thumb, or you take one helmet to the hand, or one you try and throw it and it deflects off at. And I don't know if he's going to be able to grip the ball right enough to throw it. So I think he'll give it a go. I think he'll start. I think they'll probably start with a bunch of design runs and that. I don't know if he can make it through the game or at least be functional enough to throw the ball with that injury. So both think it's an ugly one. But hey, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see old Johnny Mateer. But I'll tell you this: if he plays well, Oklahoma wins. That's your Heisman favorite come Sunday morning, baby.
All right, I love it. Love that. Good luck. Knish, appreciate you joining the show. Catch Knish later today, 5 p.m. Eastern time at Hit the Books over at the Hit the Books YouTube channel. Knish, talk soon.
Good talk to you, brother.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you, Knish. Appreciate him joining the show. He works an actual job, by the way. Which I know is shocking, but
Joey corporate.
He does work a job, and shout out to him for taking time out of his lunch break to come on the show here. Quick reminder, like I said before, you can catch Knish on Hit the Books every Monday and Friday. Today, 5 p.m. Eastern time, if you want to watch him break down the slate of games for this college football Saturday slate, you're going to want to do that. They're also live at halftime for the, I think it's around 1:30-ish.
Saturdays.
They pick a game every week. I don't know which game they picked this week, but yeah, should be interesting. Anyways, close out the show. We're going to talk a little bit of MLB. Happy that our Jays made it through. He's a part of the Baseball Writers Association of America. He does MLB and F1. He's an editor for MLB and F1 over at The Score. Brandon Wile, how's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling better than any Phillies fan, I think, is today. And it's funny that the guest before you has a real job. I remember the days of having a real job, and it sucked. And I'm very fortunate to be a baseball writer now, because, I did not survive the real job days.
Yeah, that's why we call him Joey Corporate. Good guy. But yeah, we also all have real jobs. I meant he just took time out of his 9 to 5 to come talk to us, which I appreciate. Anyways, excited to talk some MLB with you here. Lot to talk about. Obviously, what were your biggest takeaways from that game last night? From the Phillies and Dodgers. Obviously, heartbreaking loss for the Phillies. Any key takeaways or things that you step back and were like, wow, I noticed this in that game?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is that after you get over just feeling so awful for Orion Kirkring, I mean, that's going to follow him probably for the remainder of his career, which is unfortunate. You could see in real time when he picks up the ball and everyone is pretty much screaming through their TV to throw the ball to first, and he doesn't. So, I mean, obviously, that's my first takeaway. My second takeaway is this: just another failed postseason for this Philly score. Bryce Harper is going to be another year older. Kyle Schwarber is going into free agency. Nick Castellanos, the entire core is just getting 1 year older, and it just shows, I think, how hard it is to win, no matter how good your team is in the postseason. And I guess my third takeaway is that the Dodgers definitely stole this series. Obviously, the Dodgers are incredibly talented. We all know that. But I believe the Phillies out-hit them. They outscored them. They out-pitched them for the better part of the series. I think the Dodgers will probably tell you that they stole this. And now I think if you're looking at the remaining field, the Dodgers probably feel pretty good about themselves about potentially repeating here.
Yeah. Right now, just looking at the board over on FanDuel, clear in a way the favorites to win the World Series, plus 110 for the Dodgers. Obviously, Mariners, Brewers, Tigers, Cubs haven't gotten through yet. Two of those teams are going to be gone. That will affect the odds down the road. But right now, Dodgers clearing away plus 110 to win. Let's talk a little bit about the game that's happening tonight. Tigers, Mariners. Tigers minus 125 on the road here. Favorites right now, which is a little shocking, but we know that Tariq Skubal's one of the best pitchers in the MLB, so it makes a little bit of sense there. Total is really low at 5.5 here. Break down this game for us, this game 5 between the Tigers and the Mariners.
Yeah, I mean, even with Skubal, obviously he's probably going to win another Cy Young, back-to-back Cy Young. He's been absolutely incredible in the postseason as well. Not the rare pitcher who pitches well in the regular season, but also follows it up in the postseason. But we have seen guys like Justin Verlander, David Price, Clayton Kershaw, guys that are future Hall of Famers, nails in the regular season who have struggled in the playoffs. That's not been Tarek Skubal's problem. He was also awesome in the first game in the series he faced him. I think he threw seven innings, gave up 2 home runs, both to Jorge Polanco. I believe Polanco's plus 700 to homer again. That could be a fun bet. I can't imagine he would homer off Skubal for a third time, but I mean, obviously he has his number a little bit here. So yeah, I was a little bit shocked to see the Tigers as favorites, even with Skubal. Mariners had the second best record at home this year. I know they split the first 2 series in Seattle, but George Kirby's also a great pitcher, had a really good first start in this series. I do think Seattle's offense is bound to break out. I would think Seattle's probably the favorite here, and I would pick Seattle to be the favorite to represent the American League in the World Series if they are to advance here. I just think Seattle's built so well for a longer series with their starting pitching. Not to take anything away from the Blue Jays, but yeah, if you're the Blue Jays, I think you're rooting for the Tigers tonight, just because the Mariners, as poorly as they played at times this series, I just like them in a longer series in a CS.
All right, fair enough here. Polanco, if you want to take that to hit for him to hit a home run against Skubal here. I mean, it doesn't have to be against Tariq Skubal. It could be against anyone in the game. Plus 680 over at FanDuel. I think Jacob and I have talked about this on the show, how like we really want the Tigers to win this game, obviously because Skubal's on the bump today. It means only probably 2 games for him in the series. But give us the matchup against, let's say the Tigers don't win. Let's say the Mariners win. How do the Jays match up? I know you like the Mariners a little bit more, but like give me a little bit more detail into that. Why do you like the Mariners more?
I love their starting pitching.
Okay.
I think they can roll out 4 guys in the series. There's not going to be a bullpen game. Not that a bullpen game is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, look at the Jays' success that they had in their bullpen game. But yeah, I like the Mariners' starting pitching depth. I like the Mariners' offense. Cal Raleigh has definitely terrorized the Blue Jays throughout his career. I know Julio Rodriguez has not had a great division series, but I just think they're very deep. I like Josh Naylor. I think they're right-handed, left-handed bats. How they can roll out their lineup would give the Blue Jays problems. I don't think that they would be a heavy favorite against the Blue Jays. I think it would just be a great series that would probably be 6 or 7 games. I like the rivalry. Not that this is an intangible thing, but I do like the rivalry that the Mariners have with Canadian fans kind of invading their building. I think that adds a really fun element. But I do think the Blue Jays are well set up to go into a series with either of these teams, given the break, given the fact that Skubal and Kirby are both pitching tonight. The fact that this Mariners-Tigers series going the distance obviously benefits the Blue Jays. We saw how much avoiding the wild card series benefited the Blue Jays. They looked fresh. Vladimir Guerrero looked fresh. Alejandro Kirk looked fresh. Being able to deploy their pitching staff in the way they did against the Yankees, I think that break did them wonders. I think the break will do them wonders as well going into the championship series, but maybe just not as big of an advantage as they had against the Yankees.
Fair enough here. Maybe along with cheering for the Tigers, maybe us Blue Jays fans should be rooting for extra innings and for it to go as long as possible. Try and wear out as many arms as we can here. Let's flip over and talk the Saturday night game. Cubs at Brewers. We don't have, at least I didn't see the listed starters just yet.
Not yet.
Who do you expect to start in the game for the Cubs and Brewers respectively?
It's going to be, I think, all hands on deck. But I do think if you're starting, I think Shota Imanaga is lined up on 4 days rest for the Cubs. I think the leash on him would be incredibly short. He's given up a lot of home run. The home run ball has really killed him in the second half here and into the postseason. So obviously in an elimination game, you can't really risk having your starter implode for multiple innings. So yeah, I think the leash would be short. The Cubs have also relied on their bullpen a lot. They pitched in the wild card series. Daniel Palencia, their best reliever. I think he's been used already 5 or 6 times this postseason. He's been excellent. But eventually that wear and tear is going to catch up to you. The Brewers are a little bit more fresh. They avoided the wild card round, so their arms are a little bit more fresh in that respect. I don't know if Jacob Mizorowski will start, but I expect to see him definitely in some sort of bulk role. Maybe they start an opener and deploy him for 3 or 4 innings. Obviously, he stretched out. He started for the majority of this season. I think he pitched 3 innings, earlier in this series. So, yeah, I would expect to see him in a bulk role. But with any elimination game, the leashes will be short. I expect to see a large amount of different pitchers. And like we saw in the Phillies and Dodgers game last night, I don't think Counsell or Murphy will be hesitant to maybe get really weird with their bullpen management. And maybe we see another starter come out because there's no tomorrow for the losing team in this series tonight. So and tomorrow. So we'll be pretty excited to see just how weird I think things get with the pitching.
Yeah, no, for sure. Also, like with this Mizorowski, he really struggled down the stretch of the season. Now it seems like he's kind of back in his form. So it could be, I don't know. Do you have like a certain side that you like? Right now the Brewers are minus 130. They're the current favorites. If the pitchers project out, as you mentioned there, if you had to lean one way or the other, who would you pick here to win this series?
Yeah, this one's definitely tough. I think I would lean the Cubs just because momentum's funny when it comes to baseball because there really isn't any momentum. But the Cubs have hit well and played well in Milwaukee this year. And I do think there are some ghosts with the Brewers. I think they're 3-10 in their last whatever postseason clinchers. They lost 6 straight playoff series. I know these are all different teams and different makeups and different guys, but I think there are some ghosts with Milwaukee. And if they get down early, I know in the series that they've shown an ability to come back. But I do think if they're chasing the game, maybe those negative thoughts and those ghosts kind of creep in and maybe the atmosphere kind of gets on top of the players a little bit. So yeah, I'm leading the Cubs, but I think this game can go anyway.
How do you feel like the Dodgers match up against both these teams looking ahead to the NLCS? Are they going to kind of have their way with both the Cubs and the Brewers? Who strikes a tougher matchup for each for the Dodgers?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are fine either way. The regular season, the Dodgers kind of looked like maybe they were vulnerable. I think that was kind of silly to think now in hindsight. It almost feels like the Dodgers kind of treated the regular season as just not necessarily spring training, but like when the bright lights flip or bright lights come on, like we'll be ready to flip the switch. And we've seen that. And I know that I said that the Phillies essentially outplayed them, but at the end of the day, the Dodgers still figured out a way to win their games. And that's with Shohei Ohtani essentially doing nothing in that series, which you wouldn't think would continue. But just the Dodgers pitching is so deep now. They have 4 or 5 legitimate starters. Clayton Kershaw might not even make the championship roster. He pitched out of the bullpen last series. And Roki Sasaki has been absolutely incredible out of the bullpen. Just it's funny that him getting hurt actually benefited them long-term. And he's kind of really settled their bullpen now, and he can pitch multiple innings in a high leverage role. So that really settles them. I think the Dodgers would definitely be the pick to represent the National League. And I do think they're obviously heavy favorites now to win the World Series. And I think it's pretty clear that as good as the Blue Jays have been, as good as Seattle's been, Detroit, when you're stacking up just talent for talent in a championship series, you'd be hard to root against the Dodgers at this point.
All right, let's take our head out of it for a second. Let's go with our heart and with our let's call it the storyline. Who would be the most interesting storyline of the teams remaining to win the World Series? The one that would be you look back on and you think just wow, what a run they were on.
Not a homer take, but I think definitely the Blue Jays. I mean, obviously we've seen they haven't won since 1993. The crowds have been amazing. Just their entire story with Vladdy going into the season, everyone thought he might leave. He signs a big contract, has an underwhelming regular season, but has turned it on in the postseason. It's cool to see players. Not that the Blue Jays are a small market by any imagination, but to see him stay, sign the big deal, and potentially lead the Blue Jays to a championship, that's such a great narrative. Seattle as well. Seattle has such a rich history of really good players. I mean, Ichiro, Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod was there for a bit, and they've never really been able to win at all. I think that would be such a great thing for the city. Even if you want to get deeper into the Supersonics leaving, I know obviously the Seahawks have had success, but Seattle's had a lot of poor things happen to them sports wise. So that'd be really cool. I think anyone is rooting against the Dodgers if you're not a Dodgers fan. I think it would just be so good for baseball to have a new winner, especially going into a new CBA coming up at the end of next year. We're already getting talks of a salary cap. Owners, if owners can point to the Dodgers winning another championship, I think that gives them a little bit of ammo towards kind of pushing a salary cap, which is, I don't think any fans want a salary. I mean, it is divided a little bit. I personally hate the salary cap. I love covering a sport that doesn't have one. I think it just makes transactions easier. I think it makes storylines easier. I think a salary cap doesn't really create parity either, but that's a whole other debate. But yeah, I think you can create a pretty fun narrative for anyone but the Dodgers winning at this point.
All right, I love that. Yeah, I think it's everyone versus the Dodgers, which it seems like it is, especially up here in Canada. But yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, Brandon, appreciate you joining the show with us today. You can follow him on Twitter at Brandon_N_Wile. Brandon, we'll chat soon. Thank you for coming on.
Awesome, great talking to you, man.
All right, see ya. Great stuff there. Great show as well. I'm gonna throw out 2 darts for the chat for this Saturday game. Just 2 good prices. If you want to take Christian Yelich and Bryce Terang to score a home run. Christian Yelich plus 800 over on FanDuel. Terang 11-1 at FanDuel. Both by far best in market. And I'd throw the dart. We heard that Shota likes to give up the long ball, so maybe we can get it early here with those 3 guys. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Make sure you smash that like button. Goes a long way for us, for me, for Jacob. It goes a long way for us here on the channel. Lets YouTube know that, like, hey, we like this stuff, so we'll suggest it to other people who might like this stuff as well. That's to score a home run. Listen, my brain's a little...
Well, if you have a scorecard.
Yeah.
I mean, you can score a home run, I guess.
To hit a home run, sorry. Listen, I am battling demons right now in this chair. I'm sweating. My nose is stuffed. My head's all foggy. Doing the show for you guys, and I had a great show today. Anyways, I hope all you guys have a great weekend. Reminder, this Monday, no show. Canadian Thanksgiving, fake Thanksgiving is what I like to call it. So going to be spending time with the family, but don't worry, we'll still be doing our Monday night watch along over on Forward Progress. I don't know how many subscribers we're at. I think we're 3 away. So if you guys can send...
We cut the deficit in half.
Cut the deficit in half. I guarantee you...
3 more.
Knish isn't subscribed, so I'll go send him the link and he'll subscribe. There'll be 2 more. If we can get to 4,000, if I come back on Tuesday, 4,000, I'm going to be a happy camper. Anyways, appreciate you guys in the chat. Appreciate all you guys who like the stream. Subscribe.
Around the Hammer, before we go.
Oh, Around the Hammer. You're right. This morning, dropped earlier. Circle Back. It's out on the Circles Off YouTube channel. Knish was on there. Knish is on there. And then, of course, this is the Knish day because we have hit the books at 5 p.m.
Yeah, he's actually on everything today.
Eastern time as well. A little bit more housekeeping. Saturday, 10:30 a.m. I'm gonna be doing the prop show with Hitman. Normally we do it around 11 and noon between that time, but it's gonna be at 10:30 a.m. So you're gonna want to tune in live. It's good stuff. Anyways, appreciate you guys joining today. This has been the October 10th edition here of the Hammer Daily, presented by FanDuel here on the Hammer Betting Network. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday.